I'm Callie Lewis. You're watching Geek Brief TV. Today I have not my grandmother, but the official grandmother of Geek Brief, Martha Garrett. Martha, you brand yourself online as SwitchingGranny,
Yes.
which we'll get to in a second on that story.
Sure.
But what I'm really interested in is that you are such a connected granny. You are everywhere online.
I just have made up my life in many ways, really. I love online social media. I am, yes, on Facebook, which that's kind of new for me, really.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Facebook,
just in
Twitter.
The last year. And Twitter and blogging
Okay.
and on the internet, email groups and things like that.
And chat.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had our very first video, first video chat together.
I did, thanks to you. I know we're going to talk about switching in a minute, but
Yeah.
you were the one who gave me my first iChat because I didn't know anybody else with a Mac. And it was like Lucille Ball calling me saying, neat new computer, because it was you. And I'd been watching the podcast. So.
How long have you been doing all of this internet stuff as a grandmother?
As a grandmother, I started with web TV.
Okay.
And it was probably about the year I became a grandmother that I started with web TV in 2003. And
the grandbaby wasn't enough for you, huh?
No. And I loved it so much. And yep, 2003 and about 2006 I got my Mac. And I got involved with you and the Geek Brief family.
And other podcasts as well.
Oh yeah, I really loved that sort of media. Yeah, and that's how I learned.
Okay.
So I started doing a lot of that about 2005.
Okay.
And got real desirous of a
Yeah.
Mac.
And just started hoarding everything that you could, not hoarding, that's a bad word, but just taking it all in.
Taking it in.
Now,
yeah, like a sponge.
we do have a lot of grandmothers and grandfathers that watch the show, which I love you guys for doing that. Was it hard for you to feel like you were grasping what was going on in this new culture?
Initially, yes. My son would tell you that web TV just blew my mind. I was frustrated all the time. But no, I think really because of the podcasts and listening to people like you that were encouraging how to do things and how to get the most out of it and what websites would help you learn. It's so self-doable.
Yeah.
You don't have to have big manuals. You don't have to have classes. We don't have Apple stores.
And there's so many people online that are willing to help out and just explain, and it's a big
community, and it's great because I didn't have to know anybody locally.
Right.
I could just put it out there on a tweet or as a podcast, just write. That's what's neat.
Yeah.
People that do podcasts are interactive. It's not like watching Lucille Ball, who doesn't have anything to do with me. She was my favorite as a kid. But I
never got to talk to her, did you?
No, and I could email you and say, hey, Callie, and you got back with me every time.
And
so
speaking of, not having to be local, you have MS. You were diagnosed in what, 2003?
In 2003. Okay. So all this kind of happened together.
Wow. And so you keep telling me how the internet has made it possible that MS hasn't crippled you completely. I mean, you have your bad days and days where you have to stay at home and you can't go hang out with your real life friends, but that you're able to still connect. Talk a little bit about that.
That's awesome because I was involved in the workplace and I've had to step down from 2 jobs because of the MS and I love people. And I was involved with like hundreds of people a day between the 2 jobs. And I think it would have been really depressing, but because of the internet and the online communities of people, my life is full. And there are days I cannot even sit up. And my husband will tell you I'm on my side with my MacBook held up because I've not yet been able to do that. And I'm connecting with people and I'm involved with what's going on and I love that.
And you have what are real friendships that are maybe just online, but they're real.
They're real. You're just one example that I'm here visiting you and Neil and meeting people because they aren't just in the air cyber friends. They're real people. You form strong bonds and you're friends. I mean, I love it.
All right, we hinted at SwitchingGranny. Let's get into that story a little bit.
Well,
we know you switched already.
yeah, I did. I switched already, and the deal was, it was very difficult. The online social media part was easy. The keeping the computer running and stable was frustrating, terribly. And
things would pop up that you didn't know
right away. There were missing registry files and DIL files and viruses and And it just wouldn't, it would take 10 minutes to get going when I turned it on.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I wanted to switch for a long time before I did.
Okay.
Really, particularly from watching your podcast. And I knew that there was a stability. And initially I was afraid because I didn't know anybody with a Mac personally in my real life. And I thought, what if I have a problem? Who am I going to go to? So
Who's going to help me through this?
I know. And when I finally made that switch, which was in 2006 that I got a MacBook, I found out it did not matter.
Because it worked.
It always worked. It's stable, reliable,
Okay.
and the community of people. So it was the best thing that I could have done. And Switching Granny is to encourage people who think, I'm intimidated. I didn't have computers in school. I'm not going to switch operating systems and everything. Oh my goodness, Mac, besides being stable, is user-friendly. You get what you see, and you see what you need, and you can do it. I mean, so I want to encourage others that it's not too late to switch.
Good. And you're very encouraging of people. I can't use, you've used this before, I can't use the term old because you're not old, but, you know, I mean, people
I'm past that prime of that being a part of my life growing up.
Okay, we can go with that.
In school. Yeah, or we can say old.
No, but you know, you're very encouraging of
Yes.
having people embrace technology, and that's what I want to do in life. So I love having you as part of our life and a part of the Geek Brief family. So you guys, Switching Granny on Twitter and Facebook as well, or?
On Facebook, I didn't quite get my username right.
Okay.
They wouldn't let me for some reason, so I'm Switch and then in Granny.
Okay.
So close enough.
Thank you so much for being here and being
I'm
part of Geek
excited.
Brief.
I'm really excited. I love Geek Brief TV.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace.com. You can save 12% off any subscription by using promo code GEEK at checkout. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Callie Lewis. Bye.